Hi guys and welcome to thrustzone.com. This is Mohit Soni. Today we are finally riding the Triumph Speed T4 for the first time, and as I have covered everything in the launch video, you guys have seen it extensively as well. I'm going to keep this review as brief as possible because I've told you that the design is pretty much similar to the Speed 400. And the instrument cluster also remains the same. What has changed is mechanicals and a bit of engine tuning as well. What are those exact changes? Well, the USD forks have been replaced by telescopic forks, but the diameter stays the same at 41 millimeters. So USD or telescopic doesn't matter. The diameter of the fork, basically the thickness of the fork, remains at 41 mm. You get normally placed calipers. These are not radial calipers. These are not radial tires as well. These are bias ply tires. And at the same time, you've got brake pads that have been have normal brake pads on them. They don't have sintered brake pads on it. The master cylinder is pretty much the same on both sides of the motorcycle, and all of this makes the ride and handling very different than the Speed 400. Let's start with the engine first. This is the 31 PS and 36 Nm engine. This is 9 PS short and almost 1.5 Nm short over the Speed 400, and it's got a heavier crank at the low end. And what that always does to a motorcycle is that it makes it feel torquey in the lower range, and at the same time in the lower range you get very good torque without less knocking, and that is what is visible here as well. We had a brief ride on the Speed 400 and then we rode the T4, and what we can tell you is that there is hardly any difference in the way these bikes behave in the low end, because the Speed 400 was immaculate in fueling and in the way it behaved at lower edge. It's just that 700 RPM before the Speed 400 in this new T4, it starts to pick up pace. So that is the only difference. Not 1,500 RPM. It is around the 500-700 RPM mark, where this will start pulling ahead at 3,500 RPM, while the Speed 400 pulls around 4,200 RPM. So this is a significant pull, and this makes the motorcycle so much more better at low speeds. Low speeds, this feels so good, so magical, if I want to say. I know these are very, very big words to use for a motorcycle, but then again, Triumph has gotten it just right. The low end feel of the T4 just feels so old school. At the same time, it still revs quite quickly and freely all the way till the top end, and it creates an even more bigger racket because the intake and exhaust note have been changed, and it feels much more bass, sounds much more bassier, and the exhaust note is definitely a lot louder, and this makes the T4 riding experience a proper classic motorcycle. It feels like a proper classic motorcycle, and this is what I expected it to be on day one. But Triumph had gone ahead, 40 PS and 37 Nm here, enjoy your sporty bike and everything. But when I've ridden these bikes back to back, the Speed 400 and the T400, thanks to Triumph for allowing us to do so, this has made me realize that the T4 is just so much better for our conditions, for city use. This will feel so much more better, and at the same time, the fuel efficiency has gone up. So the exhaust note has gone up. At the same time, the fuel efficiency note has also gone up. You can expect this motorcycle to easily deliver above 35 kilometers per liter, which I think is quite fantastic. In terms of short shifting, you will short shift quite easily on this motorcycle, even more, and you will not feel the urge to rev this motorcycle that much. But when you do, well, like I told you, the engine revs freely and quickly throughout the top end, but at the same time, this is quite linear, and at the top end there is a bit of tamed down behavior. At the same time, I think there is a flat spot between 4,000 and 5,000 RPM, very minor one, and this makes you realize that you're riding a proper classic motorcycle. Do not be fooled by the fact that this is going to be your highway motorcycle, because while I rode it on the highway, I did not enjoy the top end as much as I did on the Speed 400. I very clearly remember the last time I rode the Speed 400. The Speed 400 that I rode for this comparison was within a very short loop city area, but I remember the Speed 400 being dramatically good on the highway. This is not. So this becomes your very specifically city intercity motorcycle. This will not tour that easily until unless you lower your expectations, because this motorcycle isn't meant for the highway because of the not so technologically advanced tires, suspension and brakes on this. This will not feel the kind of motorcycle that you need on the highway and for touring, because the ride is very busy. It tries very hard to keep the motorcycle stable. It jumps around at the rear end because the rear suspension is very soft. The front is really well damped, very confidence inspiring. That is the reason why I could push this motorcycle quite hard, try to maintain somewhere between 100 and 120, but it just felt a little bit strained. And the rear suspension over the outskirts of Pune, the roads, the proper highways are also in quite bad conditions. There is a lot of patching, and on all of those patches the motorcycle just felt very, very busy. It wasn't rock solid or stable. It just felt it was just trying hard every single time to keep the motorcycle in check. It is not unstable, it is just trying very hard every single time to do so. So that is something makes the T4 a very specifically city and intercity bike, and that is what differentiates the T4 from the Speed 400. The brakes also felt good enough, but I think this will require sintered pads if you are really into braking and all of that, but I don't think anybody will do that, because this is a very relaxed motorcycle. You will enjoy it within the city and intercity trips that you make from it, and I think that is what the T4 has been made for. It is made for local runabouts. It's made for having a good time on the motorcycle, enjoy the comfort, slightly revised ergonomics which makes it even more comfortable. The handlebars have gone slightly up, the ergonomics have changed a little bit because the seat at the front end has made it's a little bit narrower, so you are slightly more cantered towards the tank, so you can feel the tank between your legs now because the seat is also quite slimmer, and that enables it to get a much better reach for shorter riders, and that is also very important to have. So with the slightly revised ergonomics, much more city friendly behavior, and the way it looks and the way it rides, it is a motorcycle that is far more different than the Speed 400 that you can imagine. It is the same platform, it uses a lot of its strengths, but it has its own distinct era, and this clearly puts it in front of the new Royal Enfields. It definitely comes very close to the Javas and Yezdis, which offer very similar kind of performance, very specifically the Java and the Yezdi, because they do end up behaving like this, but the Triumph feels of course a little bit better in every single regard, be it the performance, quality, and the way the motorcycle behaves as well. We'll have to do a comparison test for that, but then again this also goes against the likes of the Hero Maverick 440 and the Harley Davidson X440 as well to a very large extent now. This is, I think, a very straightforward response to the Hero Maverick, because the Hero Maverick also feels very sophisticated in the way it rides, and the T4 also is feels very similar. How do they stack up back to back? I'll let you know, because I've just finished riding the Maverick as well. But the T4 is here. It finally falls in the classic segment properly. It's been priced quite well as well. It's in line with its peers, and it is going to make for a very, very competitive segment now, because everybody is either revised or bought new motorcycles. Triumph has just launched a variant. The Royal Enfield Classic has been updated dramatically in terms of equipment and everything, so this should make it for a very, very interesting comparison. Right now the T400 makes a lot of sense for what it's offering. It is definitely the highest quality spec motorcycle in this segment, the well-built motorcycle. It rides quite well than all its peers, and it is very specifically very well differentiated from the Speed 400. That's it. That's what the T4 is all about. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time in the next video. Until then, good night and goodbye.